Coming in at number 10, Charles will become king. The throne is never left unattended. In the event of the Queen's death, Charles will automatically become the king. He will be proclaimed King Charles III the day after his mother's death in a ceremony at St James's Palace. He will swear to protect the church, and then he will head off on an immediate tour of the UK, visiting Edinburgh, Cardiff and Belfast. He will then meet with the leaders of the devolved governments. As Charles is sworn in, the UK will now know a new queen, Queen Camilla, his wife. There are likely to be mixed emotions about this. Coming in at number 9, the Prime Minister and the Commonwealth will be informed. Immediately after the Queen's death, the Prime Minister of the UK will be informed. She or he will then inform the 15 governments outside of the UK where the Queen is head of state. Then the 36 other Commonwealth nations for which the Queen is a figurehead will be informed. Commonwealth countries include Australia, Canada and New Zealand. Coming in at number 8, the news will go out to the public. The Queen's death will undoubtedly make global headlines. News is likely to spread pretty fast and will officially come in two forms. The royal family's official press, Clarence House, will provide a press release to all news sources. Traditionally, the BBC is the first to hear, although it's unlikely that they will receive such a benefit in modern times. Meanwhile, at Buckingham Palace, a footman dressed in black will put up a black-edged notice on the palace gates. The royal family website will be turned black, and news reporters will also wear black on camera. Of course, all news publications in existence will have their Queen eulogy on file and will have practiced for this exact scenario. It's just good journalism. Radios will change their regular programming, broadcasting services and more frequent news updates. The BBC, the UK's public broadcaster, will not run any comedy on their main channel, and they will change their scheduling to accommodate breaking news. BBC radios will play only appropriate music, and news will be read every 15 minutes. Coming in at number 7, we have Parliament will be recalled immediately following the death. That's right, immediately following the death of a monarch, Parliament will be recalled, so this is both the House of Lords and the House of Commons. If the Parliament is on recess, MPs will be expected to make their way back to London. If the Prime Minister is not in London, they will also be expected to return as a matter of urgency. It's likely that parliaments in other Commonwealth countries will meet too. Coming in at number 6, there will be 12 days of national mourning in the UK. The Queen's death will trigger 12 days of mourning in the UK, as well as other likely mourning periods in Commonwealth countries. On the day of her death, flags will fly at half-mast and a lot of businesses will send their employees home. The royal parks will ban all games, and some international and national sports may be called off. For those that aren't, the national anthem will be sung at each match. The Queen's funeral will take place 9 days after her death, and in the mourning period, outpourings of tributes are likely to be made. The stock market will be closed on the day of the funeral, and perhaps for more days in the mourning period. Her funeral will be a national holiday in the UK and may also be a holiday in other Commonwealth countries. So this brings us to the funeral itself, coming in at number 5. If the Queen dies abroad or elsewhere in the UK, there are transportation plans in place. Ultimately, she will be taken first to Buckingham Palace, then she'll be taken to Westminster Hall, where she will lie in state until her funeral. As she lays in state, the public will be able to pay their respects with huge footfall expected. The funeral will take place at 11 AM at Westminster Abbey with around 2,000 invited guests inside. This will include officials from across the world. Her body will be taken to Windsor Palace later that day. As her coffin travels by road, a lot of people are expected to turn out to watch it go by. Next up at number 4, she'll be buried in a vault at Windsor Castle. The royal household will travel ahead to Windsor Castle, and they will have a private ceremony as the Queen's body is descended into the royal vault. Coming in at number 3, money would change. Somewhere along the 10-day timeline of events surrounding the Queen's death, the order for new money to be issued will come in the UK and all Commonwealth countries that use the British monarch on their cash. Eventually, coins and notes with the Queen's face will be replaced with that of King Charles III. Now, this next point is pure speculation, but a lot of people are suggesting it could happen. If it did, it would be the most dramatic event. That's right, coming in at number 2, we have the possible breakup of the Commonwealth. Australia's Prime Minister and opposition leader both want the country to be a republic. If Australia did become a republic, it is possible that New Zealand, Canada, Bermuda and Barbados and the rest of the Commonwealth countries may wish to follow suit. It's also quite likely soon after that Charles will tour the Commonwealth to try and consolidate his position. Finally, coming in at number 1, we would have a period of reflection. After her death, there will come a moment of national and international reflection. Queen Elizabeth II has seen much change over her reign, and sadly, not all of it has been good. From a country with an empire to none at all, from a country #1 on the global stage to one of decline in national power. Britain's position is not the same as it once was. The Queen has lived through a lot, and I hope that her reign continues to see international peace and that she doesn't have to witness the breakup of the United Kingdom. Whatever anyone's thoughts on the Queen, she's been a strong woman and a unifying force for a country that finds itself less unified by the day. Coming into number 10, we have an assassination warning from the year 4932. Apex TV, as you'll soon discover, are the gift that keep on giving. They make paranormal videos and are basically a conspiracy theorist's wet dream. In December 2017, they published an audio clip purportedly sent in to them by a time traveler from the year 4932. How did the time traveler reach them in the first place? By email, apparently. 30 years ago we were sending post, but apparently in 2,900 years' time, we're still sending emails. I'm actually just gonna say straight up, we won't be. We're just gonna be communicating with the power of our minds. Anyway, the anonymous time traveler has a warning about the future president, which he says will be enough to get him killed for relaying. He says that the year 4932 is a time and a world that many people listening to would not relate to as ideal, and that time as a traveling journey has destroyed future ambition. He says that humanity no longer seem to pursue progression. He also claims that years are mysteriously falling off the calendar. He said that when attempting to journey to a future year that they'd previously journeyed upon, our error notes returned the period classification as unavailable. This suggests that the future is changeable, and with that logic, he assumes that the past is too. His message warns of the assassination of a President Janu Oliver Beck in July 2084. Janu, by the way, is supposed to be born in September this year, so watch out for that. The time traveler says he must never be elected because he must never be assassinated. Apparently, the president was also a philosopher before taking office, and he managed to prove the existence of a god. The time traveler said if we preserve his philosophy, we will preserve the future of humanity. He ended the message by saying a number sequence: 16, 8, 4, 4, 8, 4, 4, 4, 8, 8, 4, 8. Now this has stumped Apex TV viewers. The video has had over 2.6 million views, and none of them know what the weird numbers at the end mean. Coming into number 9, we have the Great Awakening in the Age of Aquarius. On November the 26th, 1977, a scary alien voice interrupted a British TV broadcast at 5:10 in the afternoon on ITV. Hijacking the Hannington transmitter, a scary speaker interrupted transmissions for 6 whole minutes, claiming to be an alien called Virillan from the Intergalactic Association. With a distorted voice, Virillan says that all weapons of mass evil must be removed. He warns humanity that they have a short time to learn how to live together in peace. The voice implored viewers to remain peaceful so that we could be part of the Great Awakening in the Age of Aquarius. The hijacker was voice only, and later ITV called the hijack a breakthrough in sound. Now, the identity of the hijacker has never been found, but afterwards tongues were firmly set wagging. A lot of alien conspiracy theorists hailed the interruption as a message from aliens of the future who have mastered the ability to send messages through space-time. Coming into number 8, we have the Drunk Traveler. Do you know what? I might try this one. In October 2017, police officers in Casper, Wyoming apprehended a drunk who claimed to be a time traveler. The self-confessed time traveler had a message of warning too. Now this warning wasn't beer and liquor never sicker, which is a shame because I think he could have used some advice there. His warning actually said that aliens will arrive in the year 2018 and cause havoc. The drunk man said that he was from the year 2048 and he was able to time travel because, and I quote, aliens filled my body with alcohol. Alright then. Coming into number 7, have we been sent a message from the future from a nearby star? Okay, when are we going to stop naming our stars insane letter combinations? This star is HD 164595, which really isn't very catchy. This star is a G-type star 94.35 light years away from Earth. In 2015, we seemingly received a message from something in the vicinity of this star. The signal was only heard once by the Ratan 600 radio in Russia. It was not reported to the rest of the world until 2016. Now, the announcement announcement came as part of the Breakthrough Listen project, which is now scanning the nearest 100 galaxies for transmissions. The star has been of interest to humans because it is in a habitable zone. A lot of theorists are suggesting that the message could be from a future form of humanity or even aliens. Coming into number 6, we have Noah. Noah, what a guy. He made headlines in 2017 when he appeared in several news publications and in an interview with Paranormal Elite. Noah claimed to be from the year 2021, but apparently he'd been to the year 2120. It seems that Noah isn't his real name, it's just a name used to protect his identity. The man said that he was 50, but he'd taken secret drugs to make him younger, so he appears as a 25-year-old. Good. Great. In a video for Paranormal Elite, he says his sole objective was to prove that time travel exists. He said that it was invented in 2003 but was only used by top secret organizations. Time travel was then publicly released in 2028. He said that he works for the government in 2021, but unfortunately, he's been fired, meaning he can't get back to his time. He says that flying cars exist in 2021 and people love virtual reality. He also says that in 2021, the US president is still Donald Trump and that the sky is red with global warming in Las Vegas in 2120. He also claims that North Korea is a huge threat to the world in 2030. Coming into number 5, we have John Titor, who had some worrying words for America. John Titor claimed to be an American military time traveler from 2036, and he wrote on a number of blogs and bulletin boards between 2000 and 2001. He started with the Time Travel Institute forums. John's words were so impactful and garnered so much attention that countless works of literature and music have been inspired by them. His story is long, so I just want to give you the cliff notes. He basically says that the USA breaks up into 5 smaller constituents as a result of civil war. He also says that humans create a miniature black hole and that World War III would be erupting soon. Although his message very much panicked people 18 years ago, a lot of the things that John said would have happened by now haven't yet happened. He explained at the time of his warnings that the future is changeable, and a lot of people think that by spreading his warnings in the first place, he actually created a new timeline of events. Some people were so wrapped up in his narrative, they created the John Titor Foundation. Up next, a lot of people think that our next warning from the future also came from John using a different name. At number 4, we have the Y2K bug scare. A lot of people pin down the Y2K scare to a number of faxes received in 1998 by Coast to Coast AM. Basically, a lot of people were concerned that come the year 2000, computers would just break down and all hell would break loose. An anonymous time traveler faxed into the show saying that Y2K is a disaster and that the government had to take control using martial law. The time traveler wrote in by fax, which, yeah, cool, I'm sure we definitely are still faxing in 2034. The time traveler warned that people suffer in the future because they forget their basic survival skills, and do you know what? I can kind of see that. As we know, the Y2K bug didn't happen, but some people were super scared. Coming into number 3, we have a 2016 computer virus. In December 2016, swathes of people around the world reported a scary computer malfunction that they assumed was a virus. People's internet browsing or Netflix viewing was interrupted by text from a man who said he was from the future. The text was patchy and mismatched, but eventually, through crowdsourcing, it was pieced together. The full text claimed to be from a man who said that he was a chronoquantum technician whose work had been banned. He said it was because, and I quote, to prevent me from doing exactly what I'm doing now, at long last sending a warning to our ancestors. He said that humans are taking a path into darkness, and it all began in the late 20th century when humans started accepting crimes and absolutely inhumane practices. He claimed all of the last 4 United States presidents were corrupt and blindsided people into accepting cruelty. Because humans were so stupid as not to realize what the politicians were up to, the hacker from the future claimed that we, your descendants, have lived in squalor, rancor, violence, and despair all of our lives for generations. Coming into number 2, we have the unrecognizable humans of 2987. Apex TV interviewed this guy in Armenia. Now, he said that he was employed by the Soviet in 1987. They wanted to send him and a group of fellow time travelers back in time to the 1600s. The machine that they invented was allegedly called the History Corrector, and it was designed to send people back to correct mistakes made in Russian history. The only problem was, they found they couldn't send people back, only forward. As a result, the man was sent forwards in time by 1,000 years to 2987 using a special watch. He said that in little under 1,000 years, people are unrecognizable and almost mechanical. They're covered in devices and strange clothing. He said that people don't move, they levitate and apparate. He said that people are busy and emotionless and unhappy. He said that there are only 4 countries that exist: the Asian Federation, the Soviet Union, America, and a mysterious country called RA. Good news though, people do travel to Mars, and it's supposed to be really lovely in 1,000 years, so get me there. Finally, bad news for you guys living in the City of Angels, because LA is going to be underwater in the year 5000. I really feel like Busted called it when they said that they'd been to the year 3000 and not much had changed, but they live underwater, and then they met a really hot great-granddaughter. It was great, it was a good time. Maybe they're the real time travelers here. Seriously though, one time traveler called Edward offered a scary vision of the future. Speaking to our mates at Apex TV, who else, Edward said that he worked on a top secret experiment in 2004 which allowed him to time travel to the future. He said that he arrived at a wooden city floating on the water where he met a man who informed him of the post-apocalyptic floods. He ventured into the ocean and saw the old city sitting at the bottom of the ocean bed. He said that the flooding was as a direct result of global warming and that many people had suffered from the loss of coastal city worldwide. He basically confirmed that yes, the polar ice caps do melt and so many people drown.
Starting us off at number 10 is COVID-19, custom-made pandemics. There were future predictions that stated that we should be able to create our own pandemic by now. Okay, just hear me out. We already have many blueprints for this. For instance, we have 3D printers and we've accidentally been given recipes for mutated bird flu strains. This dangerous information was published by Nature magazine and could provide anyone with the means of human destruction. We're literally teaching potential terrorists to create their own viruses like, hello, we are going to be the end of ourselves. We might even see a widespread outbreak of some new form of a manufactured disease, and there are actually a number of reports coming to light as the current pandemic's origin is now being questioned. Did it really come from someone eating a bat at a market, or did it come from the high-level research lab for bat-like diseases just 4 miles from said market? I will leave that one up to you. Coming in at number 9 is the Weekend West. So in light of number 10, which is currently happening, there's a prediction which suggests that China is considered the next world superpower, and a certain quatrain seems to suggest that after the setbacks of the US Civil War and the Great Famine, China is ready to reach the top. Now the US is still $7 trillion ahead of China's $11 trillion economy, and the average American produces 2 times the world average economic output. America's economy is currently down because of COVID-19, and China's is flourishing because they had it and beat it first, and their economy is the only one in the world that is currently active in sending materials like PPE equipment to the rest of the world. They're also buying up a lot of companies while the whole world is at a standstill, and it's pretty much only a matter of time until China eclipses the US as a world power. But I honestly think this happened way before COVID-19 was even a thing. I did my university thesis on how China has overtaken the US, and it was 40 plus pages long, you guys. China really has surpassed the US in almost every way, which I don't even mind. At number 8, we have World War III. Now this event has honestly been predicted so many times in the past, I'm over it. In 1981, it was claimed the Third World War would start in 1994 and continue until at least 1999. Did that happen? No. In 2002, World War III was cited to start after 57 years of peaceful years since World War II ended in 1945. Could the prediction have had the right numbers but the wrong sequence? Let's do some quick maths right now. 1945 plus 57 is 2002, but was it supposed to be 2020 instead? We did kick off January with President Trump saying there would be World War III, like I've mentioned 1 billion times already, so honestly, could be in the cards. You never know. Filling at number 7 spot is technology. Future predictions have suggested that we will be able to download our own consciousness in the next couple of years. As of now, this cannot be done because the consciousness is considered to be tightly connected to physical structures in the brain, and we can't figure out how to go about this feat. This is so Black Mirror, it's not even funny. Say we were to download our consciousness, we could in effect be committing suicide only to replicate our conscious thought in digital form. But then we would just be stuck in AI form and not be able to perform perform any task since our physical bodies would just cease to exist. Some people consider this the same as teleportation. Once the mind is obliterated, it is cloned in another place. So really, is this new form even us anymore? The future holds a reality to this innovation, but it might not be a reality we care to see. Maybe Bill Gates can speak to this one, since he is trying to microchip the entire planet right now with a global vaccine. Fun fact, his proposed certificate of vaccination ID makes the acronym, wait for it, COVID. Just saying. Now, at number 6 is animal communication. Nostradamus predicted that humans and animals would communicate in the future, and I really hope he's right with this one because my cat probably has a lot of things to discuss with me. She's really seen too much, honestly. She's looking at me recording this right now and judging the hell out of me. Anyway, a Japanese company has almost made this possible. They invented a device called the Bowlingual, and it was supposedly able to translate a dog's bark into a language. It seemed as if Nostradamus was right and human-animal communication was happening, but unfortunately, the device was inconsistent and couldn't be proven to work correctly. So the next time your dog woofs at you, it'll just be a woof still. So the dream of talking with your furry friends is dead for now. Coming in at number 5 is the 150 lifespan. I would love to live till I'm 150 years old. The thought of aging and dying in general just gives me a lot of anxiety. I know you shouldn't be scared of something that you'll never feel until it happens, but who the hell wants to die? Either way, in 1974 at the Federation of American Societies, Bernard Strehler announced that humans would live to be 150 years of age by the end of the 20th century. Although the human lifespan has increased quite a bit in the last 75 years, it's still a very long way from an increase of that level. I mean, on the one hand, as advancements continue toward eradicating disease, the future could hold a much longer lifespan, and this prediction could then become true. In other publications, however, it is speculated that even 200 years of age would be considered normal in our future. And I'm just pissed I'm going to be dead by then, so none of this even matters to me, but I hope my great-grandkids live to be 300, just for banter. At number 4 are zombies. Now, according to Nostradamus, the dead will rise from their graves to the games of slaughter around the millennium in the year of the 7th number. Now, this could have meant 2007, it could have meant the 71st century. Since zombies did not overtake us in 2007, the zombie apocalypse could very much happen in the 71st century or 2077. But is it unlikely? Is it not? It is. Even with that unlikeliness, researchers have prepared for the circumstance to play out in real life. In 2016, the Center for Disease Control published a pamphlet entitled Preparedness 101 Zombie Pandemic, which outlined the best course of action in a real outbreak. And thankfully, I don't even have to read that shit because I've seen enough seasons of The Walking Dead to know exactly what to do in that situation. Rick Grimes would not be disappointed in me, I'll give you that. Furthermore, in 2015, Cornell University epidemiologists determined if the worst were to happen and the dead really did wake from their graves and head to Nevada, where it should remain zombie-free for 4 months. But with the insane influx of obsession surrounding zombies in television and movies, maybe he was referring to that. Who knows? Filling at number 3 slot is the Antichrist, and unfortunately for us, there are apparently supposed to be 3. Not 1 Antichrist, but 3. The first 2 were Napoleon Bonaparte and Adolf Hitler, both horrible men that everybody hated, I do agree. I mean, we know those 2 guys existed and caused a wicked reign of terror in history, but there's still 1 to go, and well, that means this prediction hasn't fully come true yet, and that means I am scared, because number 3 is probably sure as shit gonna be worse than 1 and 2 combined. That's usually how maths works. Now, at number 2 is Mavis. I just told you about the Antichrist, and I won't leave you on a cliffhanger about the 3rd possible member because it is believed to be Mavis. Mavis will soon die, then will come a horrible undoing of people and animals. At once, one will see vengeance, 100 hands, thirst, famine when the comet will pass. 262. Now, Google search of this commonly reports guesses for who Mavis is, from Saddam Hussein to Barack Obama to the current US Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus. And finally, you guys, at number 1 is the end of times. Let's just call it Armageddon for short, because I'm not going to be saying the end of times every time I refer to it. Now, it was believed that Y2K could have been the end of times he was referring to, but that didn't quite pan out because 20 years later, I'm alive as hell. Then there was the Mayan calendar that predicted the end of the world in 2012, which also did not happen. Does that mean he was wrong, or does it just mean it hasn't happened yet? There has also been reference to 8 long years of wait. The world would have to wait for 8 long years before finally living in peace. Towards the year 2025, of whatever is left would be led to an illuminating world which would be filled with peace and serenity. This peace would apparently be like the phoenix, which is born from its own ashes, but there's also a common fascination with the year 3797, which Nostradamus himself stated was the end of his predictions. It's pretty far off, so I feel okay about it, but I mean, whoever's alive at that point sucks to suck. Now, you and I won't be around to confirm, even if he was right with his previous prediction that human life will extend past 100 years, we will never know.
Starting us off at number 10 is Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. So as we all know, Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth have been happily married since 1947. That's nearly 50 years, like I don't want to overstep, but I reckon he's pretty attached to her. So if she died, I'm pretty sure Prince Philip would legitimately die of stress. Firstly, the man is already 98, so he's already, just teetering on the edge of expiration. So if you couple his age with losing the love of his life, that's just a very disastrous match, really. I feel like for the longevity of Prince Philip's life, Queen Elizabeth really just has to hang in there and keep it together, because losing her will be pretty bad for the public, but losing Philip too? Nah, can't even. We can't have that. Coming in at number 9 is mass hysteria. I don't think we quite realize how old the Queen is. Like, she lived through Hitler, the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK, Nixon, basically everything, and she's still here. Most people have never even known life without the Queen and don't even know a world where she's not there, like me included. I can't even think of a world that she's not in. She's always been alive as long as I have. Honestly, the public will be an absolute mess. She is so loved, she's been alive for so bloody long that every single generation will feel it no matter how old you are. When Princess Diana and the Queen Mother died, the public reaction was unparalleled. When Princess Diana died, tens of thousands of people came to lay flowers at the palace, more than 1 million bouquets were left, and a memorial appeal raised £20 million. People were out there waiting 10 hours or more just to sign the memorial books. So imagine what kind of chaos and mass hysteria would break loose if the Queen died. It won't just be a minute of silence at football games. Her dying is a literal punch to the gut of the nation's psyche. But I'm not an English teacher. She's the only British monarch to have celebrated her Sapphire Jubilee, which is 65 years on the throne. If she's alive for 3 more years, she'd make it to the Platinum Jubilee. It's not just a political figure dying, you guys, it's like someone close to you dying. We can't have it. We can't have it. She can't die. At number 8, we have George, Charlotte, and Louis. Yes, the 3 beautiful children of Prince William and Kate Middleton, who have also been the source of many internet memes throughout their short but very rich lives. Honestly, losing a great grandparent is horrible for anyone, whether you were particularly close to them or not. When the Queen of England happens to be your great grandma, things are a bit different, like she just raised the bar of great grandmas quite high. Either way, we all know what grandmas do. They overfeed us, tell us stories from the day of yore that we pretend to be interested in, and interestingly, they always smell like baby powder. Is that just me? I just feel like they all do. The 3 have probably bonded with their royal great grandma loads, which makes losing her awful. They'll most likely stop being overfed after her death, and so they'll no longer have those chubby cheeks, and since she herself is a cheeky bugger but the kids' own parents are quite serious, that cheekiness will also die along with her. So really, when she dies, the kids will just become skinny, boring royal kids that no one will be interested in. Filling our number 7 slot is Archie. We've done Prince Harry and Kate's kids, and now we move on to Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, the son of Prince Harry and Hollywood royalty Meghan Markle. Now, since Archie was only born a few months ago, he's currently a small potato that has absolutely no idea who he is, what his birth means, the fact he's royal and rich, and the fact his entire life will be infinitely better than mine. Great. Now, hypothetically, say the Queen dies soon, like before his 3rd or 4th birthday, he's not gonna remember her. Let's be real. He's not gonna know who the hell she was. He won't even remember his life till he's like 5 at least. Like, does anyone remember their life before they were 5 or 6? Because I don't. I just realized even if she dies before he's 4, I would have known Queen Elizabeth better than him, and I'm not even related to her. But with that will come the bullying. You see, when Archie grows up, he won't be able to flex on all these hoes about his great grandma, because let's face it, he didn't know her. Charlotte, George, and Louis will get all the clout for knowing her, being her favorites and whatnot, but where does that leave Archie? Getting bullied by all the other rich kids, that's where. You snooze, you lose, Archie, sorry. Now at number 6 is the economy. Let's face it, when the Queen dies, things are really gonna go up for a while. For at least 2 weeks after she dies, with the whole funeral and new monarch coming to ascension, Britain will literally stop. They're estimated to lose billions in earnings because banks and the London Stock Exchange will close. The coronation and funeral will obviously become national holidays, which will lose Britain anywhere from 1.2 billion to 6 billion pounds. That is a lot of money, you guys, and since basically every shop will close down for at least a day or two, the country will actually just be at a standstill for a while, and that, in and of itself, is damn scary. Coming in at number 5 are memes. Honestly, some of the best memes I've seen on the internet right now are of Queen Elizabeth, like the one where she's sitting there in the pink looking all and like cute and small. That is for sure one of my favorites. Another one of her wearing that khaki bonnet over her headscarf and looking like she's having an absolute nightmare of a time. Have you seen that? I feel like everyone's seen that meme. It's so funny, and it's honestly just me 24/7. Like, that is my mood 24/7. Queen Elizabeth in that bonnet. Just not happy to be here. Just have to be here anyway. But my absolute favorite one is the one where she's got this like bougie white coat around her and she has the crown and a bunch of diamonds and she's just smiling into your soul like she's just eaten your whole family. Like, I didn't even know the queen could look like a cannibal, but apparently she can in this photo. Also, I mean, God save the queen, honestly, and save our meme game. At number 4 is the Commonwealth. Now, as the sovereign of all 16 Commonwealth realms, Queen Elizabeth II is essentially their head of state, even though they are all independent and have their own prime ministers and so forth. It's said that when the queen dies, Prince Charles will take the throne and most likely reinforce his support to all the Commonwealth realms. Well, that's what he's expected to do, but what if he doesn't? What if he becomes power hungry because he's been waiting to be king for so long that he brings back the British Empire and wants to be the king of all the realms? As in, not just a distant king that offers troops and support here and there. No, I'm talking a dictator. It's my way or the highway sort of king. So that's Britain and Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and a lot of islands in the Caribbean, all of which would be dictated by Prince Charles, and God knows what he'd do once the queen is offed. All of which would be dictated by Prince Charles, and God knows what he'd do once the queen is offed. Also, can we just talk a second about the fact that it's called Commonwealth Realms? Like, what is this? Are we in like the archaic times of realms? Like, come on people, no. Filling our number 3 slot is the sibling bloodbath. So once the queen dies, and if Prince Charles doesn't abdicate the throne, then all the royal heirs move up a line. The next after Prince Charles would obviously be Prince William, then his son George, then Charlotte, then Louis. But I mean, honestly, this family has some pretty healthy genes, and they seem to live at least a century long. I mean, Queen Elizabeth I was 101 years old when she died, Prince Philip will be 102 years, and the current queen is catching up as well. Now, do you think these young kids are just gonna patiently wait for all these people to die before they can take the throne? Yeah, they are. Because as people start dying and dropping like flies, the only real competition will be between the kids, and Charlotte and Louis will most likely not go down without a fight. They'll most likely try and off George for the throne like they did in the old days, and since George is the firstborn, he's probably gonna be, like bred to rule. He's gonna be that righteous, courageous, can do no wrong king, so I feel like you won't even see his demise coming, so Charlotte and Louis could get him pretty easily, I feel. And I mean, I can only hope Louis doesn't go further and kill Charlotte as well, but I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's going through that little boy's head. Now at number 2 is Prince William. So compared to Prince Harry, Prince William is more of a royal poster boy, let's say. Yeah, he had his fun wild days back in the day when he was in university and after when him and Kate would break up for a little while, but compared to Harry, it was pretty tame, so we just let it slide. But 6 months ago though, there were rumors that William cheated on Kate with their friend Rose, the Marchioness of Cholmondeley. Even Giles Corran, a well-connected member of the media who's been reporting on the royals for years, apparently confirmed he knew about the affair and that everyone did as well. On another boys' holiday skiing trip, William was photographed dancing with a woman that was clearly not Kate, since she was at the palace taking care of the kids. So hopefully the death of his grandma will jolt him back to reality and make him loyal. Men and loyalty? That's scary. I said what I said. And finally, at number 1 is the joke, and this one isn't as much scary as it is me hoping this will be true. Now, as I previously mentioned, this specific royal family really does live long. They have long lives, like century-long lives. And touch wood, I mean, I hope they continue to, but also please let me in on your secrets, like what the hell, I want to live that long too. But either way, I'm theorizing that when Queen Elizabeth dies, she won't actually die. She'll somehow be preserved or given some immortality elixir that will keep her going. Or get this, this. Perhaps that's gonna be the time they finally tell us that Princess Diana hasn't really been dead this whole time. She's just been hiding with her lover and now she's back. No, not even just Diana. Think even the Queen Mother. Imagine the day Queen Elizabeth dies. The headline the next day is just a picture of these three powerful women alive and better than ever. And the headline's gonna be like, "We're back." Scary, but I'd pay to see it.